Hello, dear students. I'm Sanova Firoza, a teacher of the Tashkent State Agrarian University, Department of Languages. Today, I have prepared a video lesson for you on theme GMOs, and I hope this video will be really interesting and useful for you. Now, let's look through the plan of the lesson. What are GMOs? Are GMOs safe? Pros and cons of GMOs. Top 10 GMO food. GM versus selective breeding. GMOs and animal feeds. GMOs impact on the environment. Listening activity and lost home tasks. What are GMOs? A GMO is the direct human manipulation of an organism's DNA in a laboratory environment. Genetic modification may also involve removing specific strands of DNA. Cross-species or transgenic genetic manipulation has gone so far to combine fish DNA with strawberries and tomatoes. For the additional information, what is a GMO? GMOs are organisms that have had their characteristics changed through the modification of their DNA. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. Genetically modified organisms are organisms that have had their genomes changed in a way that doesn't happen naturally. By changing an organism's genome, we can change its characteristics. Any organism could be genetically modified, but laws restrict the creation of genetically modified humans, and the production and distribution of other GMOs is tightly regulated. Common examples of GMOs are GM crops used in agriculture and GM model organisms used in medical research. Are GMOs safe? Over 900 studies and publications were examined. No substantiated evidence of a difference in risk to human health between current commercially available genetically engineered crops and conventionally bred crops. These information are based on over 20 years of studies since GMO crops were introduced. Pros and cons of GMOs. In other words, advantages and disadvantages. Pros. GM has the potential to develop crops that are resistant to a number of harmful factors, as drought stress, disease, insects. GM also has the potential to infuse existing crops with essential vitamins and minerals. Cons. Potential for the creation of new weeds and stronger weeds, damage to non-target species, and adverse effects on ecosystem processes. Many believe that because there is so little known about the various effects of GM crops on the environment and human health, that the potential long-term risks of GM implementation outweigh the short-term benefits. Top 10 genetically modified foods. As you know, there are a huge number of GMO products all around the world, and now we're going to study top 10 of them. What are they? They are corn, golden rice, soy, cottonseed, canola, tomatoes, potatoes, sugar beets, squash, papaya. And cottonseed is really popular in our country, as our country is considered as an agricultural country. GMO versus selective breeding. Selective breeding is when you take two organisms of the same type and breed them over time in order to favor certain traits over others. GMO is when you explain how putting a tomato in a fish tank gives you a better tomato. With the help of the current picture, you can understand clearly what is GMO and what is selective breeding. GMOs and animal feeds. Animal agriculture converts crops into high quality protein like those in meat, milk, and eggs. Farmers choose to feed their livestock and poultry with feeds made from GMO crops because they can be more beneficial to the environment. For the more information, I can say that there will be more sustainable food, less land needed, fewer greenhouse gases, reduced environmental impact. GMOs impact on the environment. GMOs foster sustainable farming practices. GMOs help us grow more food on less land. GMOs have reduced greenhouse gas emission. GMOs can reduce impact of drought of crops. GMOs are part of sustainable farming that preserves topsoil, preventing erosion and desertification. Moreover, with the help of GMOs, there will be less tilling of the soil, and the result of there will be more beneficial insects, increased organic material, better moisture retention, and less soil erosion. And now, dear students, we have come to the listening activity. Now we are going to watch a video about GMOs.
Natural selection tends to favor plants that can compete for light, water, and nutrients, defend themselves from being eaten, and disperse their seed over long distances. These characteristics are in direct conflict with the goals of agriculture, where farmers want plants to invest as many of their resources as possible into making nutritious, easy-to-harvest products. Genetic improvement has been a central pillar of improved agricultural productivity for thousands of years, with modern crop varieties being much higher yielding and generally more nutritious than their wild ancestors. Even with our modern crop varieties, continued improvement is both possible and necessary to meet growing demand. New characteristics can be introduced into crops using either conventional crossbreeding or genetic modification, GM for short. The characteristics of all living organisms, such as size, color, and shape, are determined by their genes and their interaction with the environment. With improvements in our knowledge about which plant genes do what, we now know many genes that could contribute to improving sustainable food production. In some cases, conventional breeding will be the best way to deploy these genes. That is, by crossbreeding the crop variety with the plant that contains the genes providing these characteristics. In other cases, GM, where scientists take a gene and insert it directly into a crop, might be easier, or indeed the only way they can be deployed. If you want to discover more about how GM is done, if it's safe and effective, or what GM...
Okay, my dear students, here you have watched the video and I hope you really liked it. Well, our lesson is coming to its end and your homework will be the following tasks. Well, the first task is you have to find out the definitions through internet and write down to your notebook following word and word combinations. Genetic engineering, selective breeding, genome modification, desertification, crossbreeding, gene splicing, biotechnology, conventional breeding, transgenic. Task 2 is make up sentences using new words and word combinations, at least 5. And the last one, task 3, is write an essay about pros and cons of GMOs according to the video. Dear students, our lesson is over. Thanks for your attention. Thank you. Goodbye.